What's up, Starcraft fans? This video is brought to you by Endarthe, who is supporting me on Patreon. Pulse Canon tier supporters or higher are guaranteed one video redemption per month. This month, he requested a Wiki review. This time, we'll do Dehaka. We have Edwin Home at the call with us today. Edwin Home, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Alright, so this time we'll do Dehaka. For those of you who are new, welcome. So we'll do this, we'll just go on and talk directly about the thing on screen. If you want to read what's on the wiki is on the internet. You can Google it. I might have a link below, but we have cutouts of the page on screen, and you can pause if you want to read it. But we'll just go ahead. So, what do you think of the first part, Edwin Home?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty straightforward. I think it's maybe a little misleading. The absorbing the essence of weaker units to strengthen his army. You absorb essence as Dehaka, but I guess they're kind of talking about the primal combat for the rest of the army. But it's a little confusing there on the wording.
Yeah, I guess that's the only issue here. Not really a huge problem since if you remove the word weaker, then it's automatically 100% fine. So it's you can do like addition by subtraction on this first part, but not too bad. Let's move on. Next up, we have the sidebar information. What do you think about this?
Yeah, so this one there was the only problem I really had was the weaknesses being army more fragile. Um, I'd say his like three most common or four most common compositions are the primal hosts, tyrannosaurs, mutalisks, and guardian. Mutalisks and tyrannosaurs are super beefy and not remotely fragile. The mutalisks, as long as you're keeping them on the move, have a 50% damage reduction, so they really don't, and they revive from death every like 60 seconds. So not very fragile. And then primal hosts are only fragile if you let the enemy get within a mile of them, which you should never really be doing. So I don't know. I don't typically worry about losing my whole army. It's more just
Yeah,
about building the army in the first place is tricky.
that's
But
that's the case.
you're also
Yeah.
yeah, you're basically able to solo pretty much anything with top bars and Dehaka, so it's generally pretty irrelevant. But yeah, that was my main gripe.
But the rest of this seems pretty okay. Gas reliant, yes. Not very powerful static, yes. In fact, he's one of the commanders, one of the later commanders who suffers from missile command, which is kind of funny. Early offensive, yes, very true. Can solo armies, very true. Just needs to eat. Mutalisk is very powerful versus air units. Yeah, see, most of it is true. It's just one thing that's wrong with this whole thing, but it's not. It
Yep.
doesn't really make it that bad. Next is Mastery. What do you think about these?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot of commentary. I think they kind of give commentary on what to take later. There will be a bit more to talk about, but yeah, good power sets. I always like the Hakas. He's got one of those ones where it kind of feels like there are the best choices, but none of these are like bad.
Sure, let's move on. Next up, we have Prestige information. What do you think about these?
Yeah, very similar. It's just telling you what it is. I think they might have some commentary on it later that you can go a little bit more in detail about. But yeah, I mean, this is all pretty accurate.
We move on to Strategies. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I'd say it's relatively accurate. This means he can tech up quickly is not just true. It's more like you just sort of default tech up quickly, like you should. It's a very simple, straightforward build order for Dehaka. So, and you want to rush up to the top tech as quick as possible because that unlocks all your top bars. But yeah, I mean, it's all relatively true from what I can see.
Yeah. The only thing that weirds me out a little bit, not saying it's wrong, it just weirds me out a little bit, is that he plays more like Stukov. I could not imagine a commander who is further from Stukov than is Dehaka. I don't know. Maybe a misunderstanding. I don't.
I think it means tech tree wise because Stukov has the very linear Terran like barracks factory starport as opposed to like Zerg where it's like you get a lair and then you have to build a Hydra Den and a Nidus network and a Spire and this, that, and the other. Um,
Why not Protoss then?
I don't
Just
know. I think they were trying to come up with Zerg-like commanders that play a little differently from regular Zerg. But I think that's the connection they're trying to make because obviously with Dehaka is even more linear than Stukov because Stukov,
right.
well, Actually, not much more. But
Dehaka
you
is one
just
production
build the
structure.
pack leader dens, and that is it, for your tech
Yeah.
tree. Just three tech buildings and then your barracks, basically. So
I
I can kind
guess,
of see what they're trying to say, but I don't know why they'd say Stukov or other Terrans. They probably should have just listed like a Terran commander, like Nova or something like that.
well, not Nova. Nova drops down her units. The
That's true.
they don't
I'm trying to
produce.
think of someone that
Maybe a
Dehaka
Swan.
has basically the most linear tech tree in the game. He's got four buildings is all you need to make every unit you can make, basically.
Four buildings and basically
Um,
one production structure. So I'm thinking,
yeah.
yeah, a Swan or, huh, not really. Stat Boy's not even Terran. I'm thinking someone like, well, not Hot and Horner, but obviously not. I was about to say Rainer, but Rainer has drop pod. Maybe Arcturus or something like that, or Tychus. Actually, yeah, maybe Tychus. Everything comes out of
Yeah,
one
yeah, he's
production
pretty similar
structure.
to Tychus.
They rally from that building, and they just get tech building. So yeah, I think more like Tychus than anything. Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess that's that. But other than that, this is this is pretty much just talking about basics, not really anything. Let's move on. Next up, we
Uh,
have Mastery Strategies. What do you think about this one?
Set one, I kind of agree with. It's largely preference. Devour healing can aid a lot in the early game. It largely depends on like if you're on Vermilion problem and a lot of like on Vermilion problem, especially against like Terran, like every single unit you run into is not biological, so you miss out on the huge healing. As long as you can eat bio units in the early game, that tends to be enough healing regardless.
Yes.
But the Devour buff duration, it's not a hugely impactful thing typically. But yeah, so you can kind of go whichever one you want. I typically just split it. Set two is where I'd kind of disagree. Worms are very nice to be able to just pop up on a whim, especially because they can pop up anywhere that you've previously explored, even if you don't currently have vision of it. And so that allows you to like pop open a worm and then pop down a pack leader if you need to, or deep tunnel Dehaka over to that direction. So having the Primal Worm Mastery is a lot better. Pack leaders, it's typically like a longer duration. They're already going to have killed whatever you dropped them on, and then you're just going to watch them move at point 0.3 speed across the map and then time out before they get to the next spot anyways, typically. So I disagree with Power Set 2. Power Set 3, yeah, I kind of go whichever way on that. Gene Mutation's fun. Dehaka attack speed's fine. You're not doing most of your damage with your auto attack as Dehaka regardless. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think you can go either way on that one, really.
I usually use the Haka slapping speed myself, not because I like slapping things, but generally I just get my units out really late, like the second half of the game, where basically the game was already won. It's just, just try to see who gets more kills. So I just like having more power in the early part, which is really the critical part of the game. For the power set 2 thing, I think this was written pre Prestige. Because before the second Prestige, you can definitely run out of duration for your pack leaders when you're, for example, using Glevig, when you're clearing three places at once and you want to deep tunnel Glevig to pretty much every which way you can. Having a longer duration before the second Prestige did mean something. But now with the
That's true.
second Prestige, you don't need the duration because all three pack leaders are competing against Dehaka. So Dehaka and the pack leaders compete against each other for screen time. So you don't really need pack leader duration. You just want more worms. So I think that's the reason why this one is set
Yeah,
to the way it is. But I can see the appeal of just having pack leader duration, especially when you're on the uh first prestige because the Haka just buffs everything, including the pack leaders. So that's pretty awesome. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, we have Prestige Masteries. I believe this meant to say Prestige Strategies, but got mixed up along the way. What do you think about them? First one, Devouring one.
um, yeah, devouring one. I think they're pretty much correct about. It's a fun prestige, but it's definitely a lot harder to use than SP2 in particular, so it's fairly accurate. He's going to be a little tougher to use, but it's fun. You can do some cool things with it for sure if you can
Oh yeah.
manage to make it that far.
So for me, the first
Uh,
one, the first prestige, just makes Dehaka the hero sad because he doesn't reach his full power. That being said, he does get pretty strong, but kind of sad that he doesn't reach his full power. I don't normally use this one, but when I use it, it's usually because I need to buff my army considerably, or just like trying to chain the buffs. If you're into that, so what you want to do is you want to lower the health of your enemies considerably before devouring them. You want to devour units with different tags like psionic, biological, mechanical, heroic, armored. If you can stack as many of those as you can, you get all the buffs. And you'll see a funny thing on the sidebar or the unit the wireframe of your units where you can not no not the wireframe, the information. You can see a lot of status effects on there which all buff them. It's pretty funny. Let's move on. Primal Contender. What do you think?
yeah, I definitely agree with. I feel like they undersell it a little bit. There's nothing to me reading this that would indicate that like this is one of the best prestiges in the entire game. But so um, that's a bit of an issue, but that's just a nitpick, really. Um,
uh
I generally agree with it, though.
I generally agree
Oh,
also. I generally agree also,
the
but the fact that Dehaka is just so strong by default makes the second prestige not stand out so much. I mean, there are situations where it definitely does stand out as the one and only prestige you need to use because of how the packeters are sometimes immune from mutators. But in regular brutal, or even in lower brutal pluses, you don't really get a lot of benefit from the second prestige in particular, as opposed to one of the other ones. But aside from the usual benefit of the pack eaters lasting longer, being more durable and stuff, yes, it is the strongest. But in my opinion, maybe I'm wrong. In my opinion, it's because of Dehaka, not because of the prestige in particular. But a little bit because of the prestige in particular. But Dehaka on his own, even without prestige, is pretty strong. Not to say that you're
that's
wrong.
true.
I definitely agree that this is stronger, but it doesn't really like it's not 50% stronger than the other two. Maybe 30, you know. You get what I'm saying? It might be the strongest, but probably not by a lot. I don't know.
I'd say is it's at least from my experience, Devouring One and Brood Brother require a lot more skill to come close to Primal Contender. Primal Contender is like one of the easiest strong prestiges in the game to use.
That one I can
You just
agree
drop a
with.
pack leader,
It is
it
really
kills
easy.
absolutely everything.
Yeah.
Brood Brother, if you really want to get value out of it, you need to be microing two Dahakas at once, which is really tough for most people. Devouring One, it's way easier to lose Dahaka early on because you don't have any armor at base, and
That
you
is
have
also
a
true.
lower level cap. So and you're needing to macro because until you actually get an army out with Devouring One, you're not getting any benefits. So you
This is
can't
true.
just do Dahaka and call down. So I think if they're played really, really well, then yeah, it's not 50% better, but it's definitely like 50% easier to be
Okay,
really
that I
strong
can
in
agree
Primal
with.
Contender.
Yeah. With Devour, you can't just do Haka. You have to do other things too. Okay, how about the last one, Brood Brother? Hold on.
Brood Brother, I think it's pretty accurate. You do need to micro them pretty well, like it says, and get them both leveled up. I mean, there is obviously the secondary strategy of just leveling
Zweihacker.
Zoihaka, so you keep easy cooldown. Would have been nice to see that
Yeah.
mentioned. I think they did, but
Well, it's you have to take into account how generally when wiki writers finish a wiki, they move on to the next page because there are a lot of pages to maintain in a game as expansive as StarCraft 2. So you don't generally come back to pages that were written long ago and rewrite things that are newly discovered. Like
that's
that
true.
that funny
True.
thing about
It is.
Zweihacker. So
It is a
yeah,
newer development in the
it is
strategies for
a
sure.
relatively newer, but it's been probably out for years.
Yeah.
Oh my
Well, yeah, I
dog.
think the wiki is locked in to its current state, basically. So
Well,
I don't
it's
think we're
not
gonna see
locked.
anything.
It's just that nobody bothers to edit it these days
Right, that's what
because
I mean. It's effectively locked. No one's gonna change it at this point, even though they could.
probably.
I don't think anyone's going back and updating this.
But yeah, the article itself, the paragraph itself, I don't think it's too wrong. It's still yeah, it's still
No.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just keep both alive. If you lose one, you lose both. So keep both alive. Okay, we move on to the strategy portion. What do you think of the true devourer?
Yeah, I mean, I agree that Devour is like the most important ability to be good with, because you do need to be kind of on top of killing low health units. The Devouring Heroic units lengthens the cooldown time before the Devour ability can be used again. Is that a tag related thing, or do they just mean because they have a lot of health?
Yeah, I think
Dehaka
it's
today.
just the fact that they have a lot of health, not the fact that they have a lot of or a specific heroic tag. Maybe I'm wrong though.
Yeah, I didn't.
I
Again, I didn't think it was that, but who knows? But
but
yes, that might be a little misleading.
generally I don't devour heroic units because they have a lot of health, and just by having a lot of health, they reset your cooldown all the way to 60 seconds when at full health. I do devour the hybrid dominators though, but I do it when they get to low health.
Exactly, right. Yeah, and then they have a low. So it's like it doesn't necessarily lengthen the cooldown time. It's just they have a lot of health, so they're more likely to.
Yeah, I think so.
Um, but yeah, okay. Beyond that, yeah, I mean, it's all pretty accurate, I'd say.
Yeah, I actually agree. This one really focuses on the devour ability. I just wish that it doesn't tell players to really wait until the unit is 1 HP. I mean, having it at like 10, 20 HP is fine. It doesn't lengthen the cooldown by a lot. Like for Zerglings, for example, you just slap it once, eat it. The cooldown is the same. Or if you have a Zergling that just naturally has low health, you just eat that. What I like doing is, especially against Terran, because Terran has so many bunkers. In the early game, I like slapping the bunkers and then eating the bio that is outside the bunkers to just keep the Haka healed up, quote unquote, while he is slapping them bunkers down. So that's kind of what I do. And the fact that the bio has lower health means that the cooldown goes on faster, so I can just devour more. But yes, I like that they mentioned that you want to lower the health before devouring. Yes, you can devour hybrids and motherships and stuff, but I recommend that you well also yeah I think this article recommends also that you lower the health significantly before devouring, or unless you're in a specific emergency, then you need to do it. If it will secure the win or prevent a loss, sure, do it. But generally, you want to weaken them first before doing it. I think we finally move on. This is kind of interesting. What do you think about this one?
Well, it seems like there's a big typo. Can summon great primal worms to various tunnel and defend a location. I don't. Seems a little
I think this
bit of a
one's
typo
half
there.
done. It,
Yeah, this
it's
seems very
it's probably meant
very
to
short.
talk about units and stuff. Like, look at this previous one. It's like five whole paragraphs. This was like 2 sentences.
Yeah.
I
There's
think this
also,
one's half
I mean,
done.
it's a relatively irrelevant thing, but Dehaka's cooldown is lower at the start until he hits, level 2 or whatever it is.
Something
So,
like that. Every time he
you could
grows,
mention that.
he requires more
Yeah.
drones to bring back. Also, there
Yeah.
was not any mention here of his units rock shearing to get more powerful. Kind of sad. I wish it did, but I don't think there was any mention of his units here. Yeah,
Yeah, not in this one.
very sad. I wish it did go into more of his units. Some of them are really interesting. For example, the Impaler. They're useful against some stuff like trains, like buildings, like propagators, like yeah, things that come to your base, like aberrations, for example, on outbreak mutations. You
Yeah,
can talk
especially
about
with the
gardens.
Tenderize upgrade. You hit them once, eat them, and then you still have like a nothing cooldown
Pretty neat.
with the Tenderize. So it is fun. Yeah, it is interesting because I mean I see we're going into like synergies next, and then that's it. It's like they didn't talk about his units at all, basically.
Very sad.
So yeah, it seems like this one was like they got 70% of the way done with the wiki, and then
They
something
forgot.
happened, and they never came back. They
Maybe,
must have died while writing it, as
or
some
maybe they were
one of my
halfway through writing all about their units, and then they got to the igniter, and they can't find anything to write about, so they just deleted the whole thing
yeah,
out of shame.
that's possible. But yeah, it is interesting that they didn't really cover. I mean, they have obviously the like just what the units are and how much damage they do, those little cards, but no actual talk about like what units are
Do you
good and
ever
what units are
intentionally make igniters?
bad. When I was leveling him and I'd get Dead of Night, then you might make a few igniters to
Okay,
deal with the infested on Dead of Night, but that's it.
that's a fantastic answer. That's a sensational answer. Top 5 answers of all time. There we go. Let's move
Best
on.
I can come up with for igniters.
It is a good one, though. It is a good answer. Let's move on. Yeah, synergies. Here we are. Artanis. What do you think about this one?
Um, I mean, yeah, I guess the Guardian Shell is nice on Dehaka. Ideally, you wouldn't find out that it's nice because you're not losing Dehaka anyways, but it could be all right. Um, Primal Igniter's mentioned. I mean,
Hey.
I wouldn't necessarily synergize Primal Igniters with anything. The Tyrannosaurs is true, I suppose, and obviously a lot of Dehaka's favorite compositions, Mutalisks and Guardians, are air units, so they play well with Dragoon, Reaver, and whatnot. Especially because Guardians have some amount of splash damage that can help make up for the fact that Dragoons don't, and Tempests
Hmm.
don't. So I guess, but that's not really a synergy. More just like they have units that both do okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking of things. I'm thinking of things like shield overcharge would go way further in lengthening Dehaka's life than will guard shield. Guard shield is 5 seconds and it's gone. A shield overcharge will keep him alive for like 20 seconds or something.
Yeah,
Not just keep alive, but keep him unharmed. It will allow it to go much more aggressive on the field with a
way
shield
more aggressive.
overcharge. Also, I don't generally have the fastest expansion as Dehaka. So if, for example, on a map like Oblivion Express, where the rocks are close enough, maybe Artanis can lend some of his Archon time or a couple of Zealots to clear out my rocks as Dehaka. That'd be good synergy, I think. I mean, it's maybe not synergy, but it's definitely helping out. Is
Yeah.
as much as I can say for that. Mutator wise, they're kind of well. I'm thinking of mutators that they can help each other out on. For example, something like Void Rifts, they can kind of help each other out on that in the early game. Like Zealots and Dehaka slapping can probably team up to take out the early ones. And then Observers, sieged up in good spots, can help Dehaka summon Primal Worms to take out the later ones. That I think is something that they can work with. Heroes from the Storm, ooh, it's mostly gonna be how will Dehaka deal with it? Unless Artanis can
Yeah.
do something like disintegrate on the heroes, which could work, but the it's kind of expensive because, for example, someone like Nova will just snipe those tempests down. But yeah, I'm thinking it's gonna be mostly Dehaka who's gonna be powering through the meteors, and Artanis struggling to keep up, which is unfortunate,
Yeah.
but that is the case. What else? Missile Command. Both of them will struggle. Really, yeah, both of them will struggle against Missile Command. Dehaka will help the Artanis on things like Poopigators. Maybe on things like Avenger by just destroying the enemy before Artanis has a chance to fight. uh,
Yeah.
or can they what can they assist each other on? Mm,
Yeah, I mean, it's really like Dahaka will assist Artanis by clearing 90% of the map by the time Artanis is able to do anything useful. Is kind of the synergy here.
yeah,
Um, yeah, there's not a lot of direct good synergies there.
very sad. Unlike this next one, what do you think about Karax and Dahaka?
Yeah, Karax and Dehaka. I mean, they're right that obviously Karax has great static defense. The other big thing is that Karax can really accelerate Dehaka's initial growth by top barring, like bunkers and siege tanks for him or things like that that might deal a little bit more damage than you'd like, or air units that he has trouble against in the early game because you don't want to waste your Devour on that necessarily and have a long cooldown just to be able to kill the air units.
Mm,
So I do enjoy having a Karax ally as Dehaka because if they actually help you at the top bars, then they help you get up to level 5 and beyond a lot faster a lot of the time.
yeah, definitely.
Um,
I don't like how
and
it
yeah, then the
says.
cannons can help cover.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just say yeah, cannons and static defense do help cover for the fact that prime worms are very expensive and not the best.
And they
So
consume supply. My Donnie.
yes,
I actually think that character the Haka have more than situational synergy. I do like when both of these commanders are in a team. For example, especially against Tehran, you want to have something that bursts down the bunkers instead of just slapping them with poor Dehaka's claws. Right? Couple orbital
yeah,
strikes will clean out that thing and allow Dehaka to eat the delicious food inside. Kax is basically a can opener here to open up both Dehaka's bunkers and maybe help out with the expansion. No, probably not. No, what was I thinking? Probably not. Kax has enough time or enough difficulty opening up his own gas expansions. uh, Mutators though, they will definitely help each other out. Void Rifts, Karax can help in the early game by destroy all the Void Rifts, and Dehaka can help out with that by providing vision, by having the lizard out. Later game again, observers sieged up in good spots. They can help each other destroy the rifts by using orbital strike or deep tunneling or primal worming. You have a lot of choices. Things like missile command. Oh yeah, actually, yeah. Did I mention that? Missile command. Karak covers for Dehaka. Dehaka is pretty bad at missile command. Karak covers that. Killbots. Ooh, more of an anti synergy here. Karak is just as bad at killbots because of the whole unity barrier thing. And Dehaka is not a real Zerg in the sense of feeding stuff. He doesn't even have dudelings pop out of his buildings, so both of them will have to contribute to feeding killbots. But things like Poopagators, hey, Dehaka can deal with that. Kax is not great against Poopagators, especially fast ones. Slow poops, yes, he can manage, but fast ones, you'll need Dehaka to eat the poops before they get close. Or have something like Impalers assist the monoliths or something. Other
yeah. I'd
mutators,
say
yeah.
on the killbots as well, they are both commanders where they can just once you get your initial tech up as the Haka and once you get your like top bar upgrades up as Karax, you can just devote all of your money to feeding and just solo the map with the Haka top
With the
bars
hero.
and Karax top bars.
That
They
makes
don't have to
sense.
they're not army required commanders to do well. So there is that with killbots. It still isn't ideal, but at least you could just be feeding all of your money to the killbots
Yeah.
past a certain point.
And ideally just full clear, so you don't even have to deal with killbots. For
True.
things like double-edged, Karax is really handy because he does have the space lasers, which will prevent the Haka from really taking all that much damage when he does the slappy thing, or when his units do the wacky thing. So it's pretty nice. We move on scene.
Yeah.
The Haka does not have detection at the start, so he will need something like, well, space lasers obviously work, but cannons can also help give him vision for early attack waves to allow the Haka to wipe them out. I would say that's actually more of a synergy because Karax doesn't want to waste his early energy on fighting attack waves. He wants to just get a cannon there so the Haka can deal with it, and he can proceed to other more important things like teching up and getting upgrades and stuff. Things like mineral shields is a weird one, but hey, Karax can shoot sometimes two or three of them in a single orbital strike. So hey, that is a thing. But probably better for both of them to just have static defense on it. So that works just fine. Outbreak, things like walking infested, alien incubation. The cadence will be pretty good in making sure that the Haka doesn't have to run back to his base. I know Dehaka does have the options of making primal worms and impalers. But if you want to use all your supply and offensive units as Dehaka, you can let Karax do the defense. He's just fine. He has cannons. He'll be happy to defend for you because he has a lot of spare minerals anyway, and you want to use all your supply as Dehaka. Especially, this is my experience, but whenever I go for creeper hosts, I tend to max out pretty quickly and run out of supply. Is that your experience as well?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Anything else that I missed out?
I don't think so. I think you covered it.
All right. Let's move on. Vorazun. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I mean, I do agree that like the Haka will cover for the early game quite well for Warzone, which means you can be all the greedier with Warzone in your opening build, assuming you trust the Dehaka you're playing with.
Mm,
The Warzone's top bars like um, Gravity Well or whatever it's called,
black hole.
Black Hole. That obviously can gather units up into one little spot, and then Dehaka can leap on them and deal a lot of damage, and also shuts them down so they're not attacking Dehaka. So that can be helpful there as well. Although ideally, you're not spending too much energy on that sorts of things as Warzone in the early game. At least Dehaka shouldn't need it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's not like they work well side by side. They're not exactly synergizing, if that makes sense, but they do work well together.
True. That's true. Both of them are gas starved. Both of them have a lot of minerals. Although that being said, they do work well together, especially with the early game, late game thing. The Hawk is very powerful in the early game and can help anchor down a Vorazun that's still teching up because Vorazun requires a lot of teching up to get to where she needs to get. Whereas the Haka, you have the pack eaters out, it's pretty much go, 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 never stop. Mutator wise, Void Rifts, they're going to have to pitch in because slapping alone is not fast enough to destroy rifts. You will have a lot of help when the Shadow Guard are ready, but regarding the far rifts, both of them will have to find a way to get there. Maybe Dehaka can go air units, but so can Vorazun, so it's gonna be a struggle. Maybe Oracles can maneuver more easily than can Mutalisks. Maybe things like cloak walls can maybe help them. Pupagators, both of them are fine against Pupagators. Against things like slim pickings, Vorazun will just struggle. Dehaka will do just fine. Vorazun will struggle. There is no synergy there, right? Or is there?
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing that is particularly making it easier for them both.
Microtransactions, you can at least have your production as Warzone rally to Dehaka, provided Dehaka isn't second prestige. If Dehaka is second prestige, you can rally to one of his Tyrannosaurs or something, or other units, and let them just follow, and that just cutting a swath, and you can just help out in destroying stuff. Time stop definitely useful, but I wouldn't say that's more of a synergy. That's more like just something that Warzone does, and any commander can take advantage of the time stop. So that's yeah, no, not a synergy, but still pretty good, right? Still pretty good. Mutator wise, kill bots, both of them will absolutely struggle. COVID, they have an anti synergy because Vorazun's death recall thing will put the units back to the base and, give them COVID and destroy the entire mineral line, which is very sad. Things like, well, walking infested, outbreak, alien incubation. Yeah, I think both of them will have to defend. There's no real synergy there. Void reanimators. Who deals with void reanimators better? I think the Haka. But if the
Yeah.
Haka has the deep hunt a lot to base, I think it has to be a combination of static defense and impalers for both of them, so that they can stop the reanimators. But to deal with usually the reanimators are behind where the units can attack the static defense. So someone will have to run back.
That's where the greater primal worms come in. You can call them up in the fog of war and
That's true. That is true. Just don't let
poison
him.
stream them.
Yeah, just don't let him get focused down. Now the black hole thing is very useful in stuff like Heroes from the Storm. You can black hole the pack eaters, or you can rather black hole the enemy heroes. You can just go to town on them with your Dehaka. You can send the same creeper hosts and damage the same heroes and even enemy units. I think that's a pretty good. That's a pretty cool combination. Not sure if it's called a
Yeah,
synergy, but it's pretty
fire
good.
breath works well
Yeah,
with the
pretty good
crossbow as well.
teamwork. Also,
The one
yeah.
other thing I did think of is with emergency recall, your units don't get their health back. So once Dehaka gets up to a high enough level where you're actually getting the passive healing abilities on Dehaka, or maybe you get one early just for this, you can actually heal up before
That's
Zunes can
true.
recall the unit.
Oh
So
yeah,
that is a handy thing to have.
yeah. Things like short-sighted. Does anyone benefit from short? No, both of them just suffer. Not suffer, but
Yeah.
like get annoyed. Both of them get annoyed with short-sighted. Things like missile command. Who's better against missile command? It has to be Vorazun because Corsairs are hit scan at least, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely boards.
Yeah, I think they are okay synergistically. I'd give it like a 6 out of 10 or something,
Yeah.
or 6.5, 6 or 6.5, something like that. All right, move on. Alarak, what do you think?
Alarak, I generally agree they don't have a huge synergy or anything. The other big one, which obviously this came from before Prestiges, so they might not have mentioned it, but P3, your
Yeah,
destroyers tend to be pretty squishy, so healing from Dahaka on the destroyers can be very nice. I've used that more than once because your destroyers just tend to take a little bit of damage over time until suddenly they're super low health. So
yes.
if you can fly back over to Dahaka, heal
Two
back up, it
storms
helps.
destroy those things. Did you know that? Two storms.
I'm not surprised. I didn't know the exact details, but I'm not at all surprised. But yeah, being able to heal those back up near Dahaka gives you a lot more survivability with the destroyers. So that's probably the thing I've actually noticed the benefit of the most with Dahaka and Alarak in my own games.
Yeah. Although I do like the early game combination, like the mothership and the Haka pushing alongside each other, they can rack up a
That's
lot
true.
of clearing just with that. Things like pushing into enemy bases. Dehaka is really good at destroying units. He does need a lot of help, or a little bit of help destroying buildings. And I guess that's where overcharge comes in. Pretty good, pretty handy. Although,
Yeah,
again, same weakness as Protoss units. The missile command thing doesn't go away. I guess if Alak can get early Havoc, that will help Dahaka's early detection issues for things like we move unseen. Yeah, something like that.
yeah, and you can get one out reasonably quickly.
Pupagators, it has to be Dahaka dealing with it. But is there something that Alarak can do to help out against Pupagators? Or is it really just Dahaka doing all the work?
Knockback wave to buy an extra 2 seconds.
Hooray. Uh, what else? I guess both of them can do just fine with something like Slim Pickings. Because both of them can just get the hero unit out and just do hero clear. Things like
Yeah,
Outbreak, We Move Unseen, Kill Bots, both of them just had to pitch in because there's no synergy there. It's just both of them kind of struggling. Mutually assured destruction. I guess Allah can throw the enemy away, or Dehaka can eat a hybrid away from the army. That'll work, I guess. Yeah, I guess that'll work. So where do we stand here? Like 6.5 or 7 out of 10?
um, I think probably like a 6.5. I think it's about the same as Vorazun.
Okay, 6.5. Yeah, doesn't sound bad. Let's move on. Phoenix and Dehaka.
Um, I mean, yeah, there's not a lot of direct synergy. Phoenix doesn't really have much in the way of synergizing with anyone, and neither does Dahaka particularly. I guess Phoenix, uh, yeah, I mean, there's not a lot there. They're
Yeah,
both, pretty good up front. They do fine together, but it's not like they're directly synergizing. I mean, the heal obviously is nice from Dahaka as per usual for any Protoss that can't actually heal the health on their units. In
yeah.
theory, there's that. I don't think it's as big for Phoenix because you're probably playing P2, in which case you don't really care too much if you lose an 80 mineral Caldalis. So
Just send the next one.
yeah, I mean, yeah. So it's not like it actually matters that much, but that would be the main thing, I guess.
Mutator wise, it's probably the same story as Alarak and Vorazun. Like it's the same thing that they're weak against. Mutator wise,
Yeah.
It's gonna be the same deal over again. So what? Another 6.5, 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, yeah,
All right.
yeah. It's
Not mentioned here is Zeratul. Do you think they have synergy, or do they just bulldoze both of them?
they bulldoze. Obviously, observers still handy for
Observers.
getting vision for things, I suppose.
Takes a while to get the observers though for Zeratul.
It
Gateway, or
it
sorry,
does.
passageway, core forge, uh, construct facility. Yeah, 3 buildings to get to
Yeah,
them.
for the early game detection, not so much, but for later game, just having vision everywhere can be nice for deep tunnel and things like that for Dehaka or calling in a pack leader or whatever. But I mean, it's nothing huge. And yeah, I mean, outside of that, obviously Zeratul has like the increased shield regen from the gateways or whatever they're called, but
Hmm.
that doesn't help Dehaka at all. So that's that's his only potential synergy really, and
They can help
nothing
each
there.
other.
So
Zeratul can help out with missile command because his Tesseract monoliths are pretty good.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously he does have, a cannon Zeratul mixed with a Dehaka could be pretty nice.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm, mm.
you could give him one base of your minerals, he gives you one base of his gas.
Hey, that
Uh,
can work. Yeah, that can work.
and he make more cannons, and you can make more everything else. So there is that in theory. It's one of those things where a lot of those kinds of strategy synergies and whatnot. It's like, well, that probably requires playing with someone so it doesn't apply to
Yeah.
95% of people's games, unfortunately. But in
But
theory,
but
it's
you
there.
can do it. For example, if you want to snipe things on Sky of Amon, you can have Zeratul help out with the sniping. Uh,
Yeah,
but it's not really synergy. It's just both guys doing something that
yeah,
coincidentally help each other. It's not synergistic. It's just both of them
yep.
helping each other out. What can they synergize on? Struggling to think of something that can both. Yeah, they can both have a helping mechanic or something. Mm, I was gonna say shield guards, but not really. That would apply more conservators and havocs, not shield guards. Huh. Yeah, nothing. I guess the avatar of essence, the emote dude, can also buff. So that is something. But yeah. So what do we give here? Like 6 or six and
I'd
a
probably give him
half?
a 5.
A 5. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Let's help you.
I feel like there's less help. Oh, I guess 6.5 is good because he does have. I mean, the static defense from Zeratul can shore up the lack of static defense from Dehaka, which can be pretty nice on certain maps, like the artifact construct map that the name eludes
Cradle of
me.
Death.
Uh, Cradle of Death, obviously you get a lot of attack waves from all over the place. So being able to just focus on clearing his Dehaka because there's cannons at home can be nice.
True.
Um,
Yeah.
Dead of Night, Zeratul can just build some cannons and then you can just go clear all night. So
All
that can
night
be
long,
nice.
baby.
Things like that. Oh
All
yeah.
right.
So those kinds of things.
Yeah, I guess 6.5 is fine. Got a lot of sixes right now. Let's move on. Tehran commanders. What do you think of Raynor?
I mean, yeah, in theory, medics around can be nice. Medics don't heal that fast relative to Dehaka's health pool, especially the later the game goes on. But early game, it could be nice. And I mean, everyone knows Raynor players just have way too much energy on their medics. So you stealing some, they're gonna love that. Uh, but other than that, yeah, I mean, it's good. Dahaka's later game, obviously, if they are going bio or even battle cruisers, and you've got a level 15 Dahaka, so you're healing 3 health per second on an entire bio army or
Very
battle cruiser
nice.
army, that's a lot of healing for a bio Rainer in particular. That's like, they've got like 50, 80 units. That's
Uh,
hundreds of healing per second that you're doing there.
and if
So that's pretty good.
you're doing first prestige, you're gonna give them so many buffs. So
That's
many
true.
buffs.
Yeah, yeah.
A
First
ton.
Prestige, Rainer and Dahaka would be incredibly good, I think. So there's that for sure. So I'd say a strong combination makes sense. Um,
Although
Obviously, though,
really,
a
yeah,
lot of those big benefits are late game benefits, and late game benefits matter a lot less than early game benefits.
yeah.
So But I mean, there is the medics thing. It's one of those things where it's like there's something you've done the Dehaka farming wrong usually if you need the medic healing too terribly much.
That's true. Also,
Yeah, I mean,
Rainer's early game Dehaka can shore up, but Missile Command.
that's
Oh
true.
my Donnie, that's Rainer. That's Rainer's music. Have bunkers around the
Yeah,
buildings. Have Marines inside. You'll never have to worry about your base again with Missile Command. That is Rainer's calling card. I guess Rainer can also help with giving vision via dropping Marines or scans on things that the Haka wants to snipe. For example, you want to go backdoor on Skytafamon, drop a Marine, then call down Glevig. That'll work, right?
yeah,
Although, again, although would you call that synergistic? Maybe halfway synergistic because yeah, the Haka does need vision, and Rainer just knows how to get vision.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
That's true.
Also, point defenses from the Hyperion help out the Haka survive things like Marauders, for example, or things like
That's
Mutalisks,
true.
or yeah, just projectiles. Point defenses are pretty good for surviving projectile stuff. So yeah, um, so mutator wise, yeah, the Void Rift thing, scan or drop Marines for Primal Worm vision. Early game stuff, Doc can handle very well. Poopagators, early game Doc can eat them. Late game Spider Mines will just make them not a thing. That's absolutely not a thing. That's actually a better synergy than I ever could conceive. For example, if there's COVID, Dehaka can keep Bio alive, actually. For a time.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't get
For a
COVID.
time. He can stand behind the army and be the de facto
Yeah,
medic.
just stand in the back. Yeah, yeah. Well, I think it would be. I mean, 3 health per second is probably permanent because it's only 2% of health is damaged
Yeah.
with COVID, right? So
Dehaka. More like Doc Haka. Hey.
yeah, I think he'd keep basically the entire bio army alive, which is nice. But
Until they eat a siege tank
yeah,
shot. Or a Reaver shot.
that's true.
Or a Disruptor shot. Or a Fungal.
That's true. We're talking about COVID. It'll keep him alive from COVID, and then as long as you never do anything else, you're sitting pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, bunker siege tank defense on Dead of Night, on minor evac, very good. On things like slim pickings, Weird doesn't do well generally, but or at least on things like microtransactions, he can just rally everything to Dehaka. Dehaka can just do the thing, while Rainer's army follows around and gives support fire and medic healing, which is also nice.
Yep.
Things like killbots, Rainer can feed very painfully, but he can since he has mules. We move in scene. Rainer can probably provide the first scan for the first wave until the Hawk can get vision. Or Primal Worms. So that's something. So what do you think? 7? Or 7.5?
Yeah, I'd say 7 is
7?
7.5. Yeah, 7.5, somewhere in there.
Somewhere.
It's pretty good. Better than the
7.25.
Protoss.
Better than the Protoss. Alright, let's move on. Swan and Dehaka. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the gas drone stuff is nice for getting your army up quickly, but I mean, at least for me, I tend to try hard enough on the Dahaka and the top bars that by the time I actually worry about making units, I have a good enough amount of gas to get that like starting army out. And you're able to do so much without the army, it doesn't matter too terribly much. But the gas is definitely helpful. You can get maxed out on Tyrannosaurs or Mutalisks or Guardians or creeper hosts that much faster, which is nice. So that's good. Beyond that, yeah, I mean, there's not a ton of direct synergies, but
I'm
they
pretty
work well
upset
enough together.
that the very second sentence talks about gas thing, but not one single part of this whole paragraph mentions how the laser drill can help Dahaka break bunkers, just burst down
That is
units,
true.
aggro small stuff to farm bio or to farm essence. The laser drill's
That's
very
true.
good to support Dahaka in clearing. I'm really annoyed that it didn't mention it here. I think the laser is probably a better help for Dahaka than are the gas drones. Sure, the gas drones help, but Dahaka's weakest part is the early game. He's really strong, but he's still weakest in the early game, and the laser can help out so much with that. So I really think they should have mentioned that at least.
Yeah,
Sing-
yeah, that's true. The first wave of combat bots as well is usually enough, depending on the
yeah,
map, as long as your naturals are close enough together to clear both expansions. So earlier
yeah.
expansion for the Haka can be nice.
Uh,
Or they help clear a little bit of stuff as well. So
of course,
that's good too.
defense thing. Swan can just hold down the defense, no problem. You don't have to worry about the thing. Swan will just
Yeah,
keep your base intact. Done deal. Don't even have to think about it. You just go offense, offense, offense. Swan has it. No worries. Even things like Poopa Gears, Swan can do siege tanks and blaster billies. That will slow it down. Yes. I guess Dehaka can help on the early game by devouring the early poops, but later on, yeah, it's gonna be Swan City. Void Rifts, ooh, Swan can defend the early part, while Dehaka like slowly chips away at the rifts. But later game, I guess you can do Hercules teleports, you can do Primal Worms for the far rifts. So I guess that'll work, but not that great of a synergy. But it can work. It can work. Things
yeah,
like Void Reanimators. Mm, yeah, they're gonna have to defend both, or let the Hawk, or let Swan defend, and maybe have something. Maybe what the Hawk could have something burrowed in front to give vision to the Void Reanimator for the laser to snipe it down. Maybe that'll work. What
yeah, that's fair.
else? Heroes from the Storm. Laser Jaw obviously helps out while the Haka fights. Things like we move unseen. Turret can help, but yeah, I guess Turret can help for the first wave. Things like kill bots, both of them will struggle. Yeah, both of them will struggle with kill bots. Microtransactions, Swan can just follow his stuff to Dehaka, although I wouldn't recommend that necessarily because if you're going rates to Swan, it's gonna be pretty flimsy unless you have a larger army, which will be a struggle with microtransactions. Although, like, of course, you just go laser drill and not have to worry about that, and just support Dehaka. Dehaka will fight, and your laser will drill. So it's pretty good. Anything else?
Yeah, no, I think that's most of
So,
it.
what do you think? 7?
I would say yeah, 7.
So Raynor has better synergy. Huh, we look at that. Alright, let's move on. Nova. What do you think? Nova and Dehaka.
Yeah, so I think the big thing that they missed here, they did say that ravens benefit the Haka, but they didn't mention detection specifically. You can get out, especially if you're playing Soldier of Fortune on Nova, you can get a raven out quite quickly, and
Quite
then the
quickly.
Haka's got
Yeah.
detection in the early game. So that's a big one. Yeah, I mean, there's not like huge direct synergies here, but
It's faster
other
drone.
than that one is pretty nice. Defensive drone is good. I don't know that I'd call it a synergy more than just yeah, Nova's able to defend against things. The Hawk is not doing much there other than just oh, I have more defense. I don't know. It's a
I
nitpick on
think
what
it's pretty
synergy really
good
means, but they do
for
work well together. It's very good.
yeah.
It's just synergies tend to indicate like they both bring something to the table that combine to work well.
Covering
I don't know.
bases. Just put
Yeah,
the
I
drone on
mean,
the Haka.
they're going to be very good together.
Mm,
Nova can kind of go clear things out like buildings and whatnot with sabotage drone, and then Dehaka comes in and cleans up the units and whatnot and takes the essence, so that's good. Um, and
sure.
yeah, I mean, they're both pretty good on their own, so they're going to work well together. And the early detection can be nice. Like you were saying with mutators, propagators, they'd be pretty good against. The
They would be.
Missile Command, they are not going to have the best time against. I mean, Nova has Marines, but they are not ideal for
Not enough.
Missile Command. Really, there's just not enough Marines, yeah, to be in as many places as you need it to be. But yeah, I think they're pretty good together. There's not like a ton of synergy. Obviously, yeah, defensive drone with Dehaka in the early game is quite nice, but it is a lot of minerals to spend in the early game.
Yeah, I
In the later game,
guess.
you can drop those things left, right, and center. Like, once you get past 5, 10 minutes with Nova, you tend to just have a lot of minerals. But especially when you're trying to get expanded and your gas is up and your tech up and everything like that, at least for me, I tend to not be floating enough minerals to, like, in the first 3 minutes or whatever, use one of those.
That
So,
makes sense. Well,
but
something
if you do use
else.
one of those, it could let him clear a whole base basically with the extra protection he'd have. So it might be worth it still.
Something else is that Dehaka is better at clearing units than he is at clearing buildings. So, to shore up the building clearing thing, Liberators are fantastic, phenomenal at clearing
Yeah.
buildings. So that's another good synergy that they can have. Dehaka clears all the units, Nova destroys all the buildings. Pretty good. Things like what else? Void Rifts? Yeah, you definitely will need to shield Dehaka when he's fighting the early Voider so he can stay alive for longer and destroy that rift. That I can say. uh,
Yeah, well, and Nova tends to struggle against the first set of rifts the most. So having Dehaka, who could maybe get it done with the help of that, then once you have Nova out, it
yeah,
definitely helps Nova out a lot to have someone to deal with the first set, so that
definitely.
she can worry about future sets. But yeah, so that helps for sure.
Yeah. Pupigators, as you said, Dehaka in the early ones, Nova can spider mine the later ones. Pretty good. Killbots, both of them will struggle. Both of them have
Yeah,
to clear. It has to be a joint effort in clearing the killbots.
yeah,
Things like Heroes from the Storm. Ooh, you're gonna have to shield Dehaka to keep him alive long enough for the Liberators to finish off the heroes. I guess that can be a synergy. Both of them do bring something to the table. Dehaka is the front tank, being shielded by Defense
yep,
Drone while Liberators work behind. That is a synergy. Yeah, I would call that a synergy.
yeah, I'd say so.
Uh, Defense Drone, the Pack Eaters. Oh my Donnie.
Yeah, as if they weren't beefy enough.
they need more. They need more armor. Oh my
Yeah,
Donnie. I like the tactical airlift on the Pack Eaters. Of course, Glevic can do that on his own, but things for guys like Mervar and the Krun, they would benefit from a tactical airlift. That would be nice. Uh oh, speaking of synergy. Oh well, this is probably not a synergy per se. This is a very specific thing that two players can do together. On Skype of Amon, generally the creeper hosts don't reach the final void shard, the northwest one. But you can release the creepers, airlift them. when Nova when Nova with Super Cloak is standing at the last shard. Right? Nova's standing at the last shard,
yeah,
super cloaked. Nova, Dehaka releases some creepers, airlift them straight to the last base, and just cause mayhem. That's fun. That's fun. That's fun.
yeah. Well, and I mean, there is the other, like with P3 Nova on like that map, you can just walk past the actual bases between you and the rifts and whatnot, and then just call in pack leaders directly on them, so you don't have to worry about
That works also.
clearing out bases.
Yeah.
Rifts to core would be another one where that's the case. So that definitely does help.
Yeah.
Nova is very strong on defensive maps as well. So, she can, Dead of Night, she can just hold with Liberators and turrets or tanks and spider mines and whatnot while Dehaka clears during the night. So they definitely do have that synergy as well, where she's pretty good at defense, where he struggles a little more.
All right. So where do you rank it, or where do you rate it? Six and a half,
6.5.
7, 6.5. All right. Hot and Horner. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm ready. I think they had a typo. Han and Horner and Dehaka cover each other's weaknesses too much. I to say don't, but yeah. But work well together. Yeah, I mean,
They're too
Dehaka's
good.
early game can be, yeah, the assault galleons can help particularly against air units in the early game, where again you don't want to be wasting Devour on air units if you don't have to. And then yeah, having like a big beefy Dehaka in front of your army of very squishy Reapers or Hellions or whatever the case may be is pretty nice. So that definitely helps. Same thing in the late game as Raynor, really, with the healing as well from Dehaka on all of the little squishy Haunted Horner units.
Yeah.
Obviously, Reapers do have passive healing, but only when they're out of combat. So constant healing, even during the combat, can help quite a bit.
Is that a thing in
Uh,
co-op? I thought it was only a 1v1 thing. Oh my Donnie.
I, I could be wrong. I could
Is the
just be
Reaper healing
assuming.
thing in co-op as well?
I thought so.
Truth be
I don't
told, I've
know.
never
Maybe not.
kept a Reaper. I've never kept a Hot and Horner Reaper long enough to find out. I've never kept it alive long
Uh,
enough.
yeah, I don't know.
Skill issue.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I could be completely wrong on that.
Oh my
I
Donnie.
don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not. Who knows? Um, Anyways, I'll worry about that some other time. I may just be assuming too much 1v1. Um, but then that just makes that even better if that is the case. Then they actually have healing or they wouldn't
They actually
otherwise.
have healing.
So,
Yes.
so yeah, I mean, there's that. Um, Strike bombers revealing an area for deep tunnel or for just primal worms popping up to get vision for pack leaders or pack leaders popping down, whatever, is all pretty solid there. So yeah, the big thing, like it says there, neither of them has great static defense, so
Yes.
that hurts a bit.
They will both
Things like
suffer
Missile
on.
Command.
Yes. Outbreak. Well, outbreak to a lesser
Yeah,
extent. The Hawk can get primal. Uh, what do you call it? Impalers. Impalers for
yeah, I do
defense.
think Dehaka doesn't have the worst defense of the bad defense commanders because you can just keep your entire army at home and then win the map with just the Hawk and the pack leaders anyways.
Yeah.
So there is that option. Han and Horner and Dehaka just go out on the map, and then you have Dehaka's Impalers and whatever else at home. Guardians are pretty darn good on defense as well, typically, as long as there's no air units, but you can just have Mutalisks for that. Or you have some Primal Worms, because Primal Worms are actually solid against anti-air. But yeah, so it's not terrible for defensive maps. Once you start adding in some mutators, maybe it'd get a bit worse, but
Yeah.
they're okay. I'd probably put them at a 5.5,
5.5.
somewhere in that range. I mean, they have the healing, which is nice, but again, that's like a later game thing. Although the Salt Galleons in the early game could be pretty nice, whether they're helping Dehaka or clear the expansion. So you know what? 6.5 because of that. We'll go with
Yeah, I
that.
would give it at least 6.5 because things like Void Rifts. Oh, Han and Horn just eats those for breakfast or eat those for breakfast.
That's true. That's true.
Things like uh uh Killbots, they will both have the feed, but they have the salvage, so they will at least have some refund to at least feed for longer.
That's true.
Things like uh, Missile Command, both of them will struggle. No doubt about it. They will both struggle.
The
Um,
drones you sacrifice to Dehaka drop refunds?
I
I don't think so,
I
but
don't
maybe.
I don't know. That's something I
That's
should
a
know.
fantastic synergy if so.
That's something I
Worth
should
testing.
know. That is worth testing. Oh my Donnie. I should. I've never had a Han and Horner ally as the Haka. Usually I'm the Han and Horner.
Yeah,
Oh,
right, yeah.
I
Well,
need to find
maybe
out.
there's that then, who knows? That'd be funny.
That'd
I
be
mean, it's not a
funny.
huge deal, but it would be funny for sure.
I know like Stukov's infested drop salvage, but not sure about the drones feeding. Huh. COVID, no synergy whatsoever. Well, the Haka again can be Doc Haka when when he
Yeah,
just
yeah, if
stands
you
back.
keep him behind, keep Han and Horner's army alive the whole time.
Just have
There's that.
some pack eater do your part of the damage, your share of the damage. So that can work.
Yep.
Mm, barrier. No, no weaknesses either way. So no need to synergize. Poopagators, Daka. Daka mostly takes care of Poopagators. No real synergy there. Mutually assured destruction. I guess Magmines can do that, or he can eat. That'll work also. But that's not synergy. That's just them doing each other's things individually. So not synergistic. Yeah, maybe 6 or 6.5. Maybe 6.
I'd give him, yeah, 6 is fine.
6 is fine. All right. Not mentioned here. Tychus. What do you think about the synergy with Tychus?
And can clear stuff extremely well, including your base. So that's nice. 3 minutes ish. 3 minutes he comes out. Within a minute, probably he can clear both bases if he needs to. And then he can also kill a lot of stuff to help you get a lot of early game essence and power you up. Dehaka is one of those heroes as well, where like if there's a commander that takes off before you, which I would say Tychus tends to take off in a strong way before Dehaka. Obviously, Dehaka's out first, but as soon as Tychus comes out, he's going to be doing a lot more work.
Until
But
packagers
if
come
there
out.
is someone like that, yeah. But if someone's getting ahead of you on that as Dehaka, well, you just walk behind them, pick up Essence, suddenly you're leveled up and you're able to put in work as well, right? So
True. Very
I
true.
think that they do pretty well together because of that. So as far as direct synergies, obviously, if they are not P2 and they have Nikara, then she actually provides meaningful healing to Dahaka, even if he's at like max level 3,000 health. So that can be good. Outside of that, I mean, there's not a ton of synergy I can think of,
Hmm.
but I mean, it's fairly good. In against things
Yeah.
like Void Rifts, once you have vision of the area, being able to drop a Primal Worm down so they can medevac platform over there or whatever,
Or
to deal with those
Tychus
kinds of things
P2.
is pretty good.
Tychus P2 just
Or Tychus
existing
P2.
makes the whole mutation
Yeah,
not a problem. He just
yeah,
stands there
yeah, for sure.
menacingly. Uh,
So
Killbots,
it's yeah,
both of them will struggle. COVID. I guess the Haka can deal with that by using long range units like creeper hosts
yep.
against double edged. Ooh, double edged. I think it's gonna have to be creeper hosts. And I found this out recently. The Odin. The Odin is pretty resistant to double edged damage. I'm not sure if it's just the fact that it's so tanky or if it really ignores double edged, but I
It
found
ignores
out,
it. I'm almost positive. Yeah.
right? You can just keep the thing in front and it'll just do its work. Whereas your outlaws
Yep.
and maybe the Haka just just stand behind and just eat whatever's left. Literally.
Yeah.
Uh yeah, okay. So maybe not that unsynergistic, but yeah, both of them just kind of do their own thing. It's good. They really help each
They
other out, but
synergize in that they're both S tier commanders, so they're both putting in S tier work. That's their
so
synergy.
what is that like a six or 6.5?
Yeah, I'd do like a 6. I mean, obviously they're extremely strong
They're
pair,
extremely
but it's not
strong.
because they're
The six is not
synergizing.
for
It's
their strength
really,
together. It's
yeah,
for how much they directly synergize with each other. Like have mechanics that uh, help or have mechanics that have a positive impact on the other's play style or yeah, on the other's play
yep,
style. Not just
right. Things like
doing the
the Haka
work.
being able to get a lot more essence early because Tychus is out, not just the Haka doing really well because Tychus won the game by himself,
Yeah.
something like that.
Or the other way around. Tyger's doing really well because the
Or
Haka
the other
won
way
the game all by
around.
himself.
Yeah.
Both of them are true
Yeah.
because both of them are that kind of commander. Uh,
Yep.
so yes, that's 6. Also not mentioned here, Arcturus.
Arcturus obviously shores up the static defense side of things. Very good against things like missile command. Earth splitters provide vision at extreme ranges, and also deal damage at extreme ranges, which can be good against things like COVID.
Yes, very good.
And then creeper hosts can kind of pair fairly well with those kinds of things because they can kill air units if you need to clear those for some reason in the area that the air splitters hit. Then creeper hosts can deal with any air that's left.
Yes.
Um, I mean, there is theoretically the healing. Again, healing, unless you're, if you're good at the game, you're probably not getting healing very early on, in which case, because you're getting the other more important upgrades for Dehaka, in which case it's not coming in until much later on in the game. But that is theoretically a thing with Minsk's troopers,
The Haka being
so
the
that
front
helps.
line can be really good for keeping the vampires alive behind. Yeah, vampires right behind
Yeah.
him,
Yep.
as they say. They just shoot behind the big giant lizard, while the
Yep.
lizard
So
takes all the
there's that.
damage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Early
Or
detection.
Tyrannosaurs in front, whatever the
Tyrannosaurus in
case may
front.
be.
Yeah. Uh, detection. I guess both of them are fine, but early game detection. No, it has to be a specific rush to get a turret for Arcturus. But he can still get a faster turret than Dehaka can get faster detection. So I think it's still Arcturus helping out Dehaka. Pupagators
Yeah.
mostly Dehaka. Uh, Killbots, both of them will have to feed. It's not just Arcturus. Yes, the troopers cost 40, but he can't sustain that the entire game. He has to be compound feeding and clearing. COVID,
Yeah.
yeah, Earth Splitters do that work, but I guess Daha can contribute with Creeper Host, but again, not a synergy. Just both of them doing well individually and separately. So where do we stand? 6 or five and a
Yeah, I think a
half?
6.
6. Yeah. All right. That's about all the Terran commanders. Let's move on. Kerrigan, what do you think?
Um, Obviously, this came or was probably written pre-Prestiges, so it doesn't mention the big synergy of Omega Worms and Dehaka, where you can jump Dehaka into an Omega Worm with P2, call it on a pack leader, and then hop back out, so you can have a pack leader and Dehaka on the field at the same time.
Very
That
nice.
is a very nice synergy. One of the better Dehaka synergies, I suppose. So that, I mean, that already puts them at pretty darn good levels. Kerrigan and Dehaka working together to clear is very good, and yeah, you can get more resources from it. So also very good. I'd say potentially one of the best prestiges Dehaka has is with Kerrigan. For
The
those reasons.
synergies.
Yeah, for the synergies, two of the best synergies out there for Dehaka at least.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'd say probably like an 8.5 out of 10 on the synergy
Eight
level
and
for
a
the 2 of them.
half. It's pretty good.
I mean, the
Also, Kerrigans are
full
really
buff.
weak. Sorry?
I was just saying, full buffed pack leader and a hawk out on the field at the same time is pretty darn good,
Ooh.
and the extra resources to boot, pretty darn good. So I'd say they're at least a point above some of the other ones, and we've done 7.5 for the other
Yeah.
ones. So
Yeah. So, yeah, Kerrigan's pre 4 minute game is really weak. She's just powering up. She's just doing the regular Zerg stuff, like 1v1 Zerg stuff. Dehaka and Kerrigan, neither of them are fantastic at clearing buildings until he considers Zerglings with shredding claws. Now that will help you clear out buildings in a hurry. So that's another
yep,
thing that can help them synergize. Yeah, like you said, Omega Orbs. It can be first wave detection if you get them early enough. Uh, Healing, I guess, with the malignant creep, you can stand on the creep, get healed, pretty good. Uh,
yep.
Mutator wise, Void Rifts, ooh, gonna be a struggle either way. Doc can fight it, but gonna be a struggle. Uh, Especially getting to the far ones. Killbots, oh, Kerrigan has that, no problem. Missile Command, both of them will struggle actually. Void Reanimators, both of them can just use Omega Worm, deal with the Reanimators, no problem. But that is a Kerrigan synergy. We move in scene. Worm's got that. Once Dog gets a later level, he got that also. Short sighted. Well, Dehaka can be a melee unit, so that'll solve Kerrigan's vision issues, since she is normally a ranged unit. That's pretty good. So what else? Outbreak, lurkers are pretty good against that. Uh, Pupagators, Dehaka is pretty good against that. But again, not a synergy. Is it really 8.5, or maybe just 8?
I guess 8 is fine. I think it's definitely his best in terms of like things that actually like directly synergize and make Dehaka and or Kerrigan stronger. I think
Yeah,
it's
okay.
up there. It's got to be the best one he's got. I think.
Yeah, okay. I can get behind that. I'm not sure if we can ever have a. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look back after this video see if there's a 10 synergy between any two commanders, but maybe Artanis
I
and
doubt
Zagara. That's
it.
probably the
Yeah.
strongest synergy I can think of. No Prestige Artanis and Zagara is probably the only 10 I can unironically give because those two together. Oh, Zerglings with Garden Shell. Oh my Donnie. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's move. Yeah, let's move on. Zagara, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the frenzy is nice, although, a lot of Zagars you're not going to have frenzy buffing Dehaka because they're going to be P1 or P3. Um, I think, but obviously this is written pre-prestige most likely, so P0 in theory to help, but most people aren't playing P0, so I think that's kind of nullified. But in theory, it's there. It could technically happen. Um, Yeah, I mean, Zagara can help with clearing and whatnot once she comes out at 4 minutes. She's Baneling Barrage, very good against buildings and things like that. But she comes out at 4 minutes, so you're going to have already been clearing for a good bit of time. So it's not as early as some of the others, so therefore not as helpful as some of the others. But
Yeah.
I think they're okay together. I think they're probably like a 5.5, 6.
I would say at least 6 because of the void rifting alone. Just being able to deep tunnel. Half a brutalisk.
That's
Really good.
true. That's true. Yeah,
Feeding killbots. Zagara has that. Both of them
that's true. Thinking,
suck against missile command. Zagara feeds. Zagara feeds killbots. Zagara kills poops. No synergy
yeah,
though. Both of them are just individually good.
yeah. So yeah, I
Hmm.
think 6 is good.
Yeah, 6 is probably fine. All right, let's move on. Abathur.
Yeah, so I do think Abathur and Dehaka are up there as long as you're actually playing together. The toxicness in the early game helped make clearing a lot better, but Abathur does have to place those down, and then Dahaka does have to actually lure units into the nests, because then it gets him. You get the same amount of essence no matter what, Dahaka players. I need my biomass, okay? Lure them into the nests. As long as you're doing that, it's pretty darn good.
It is.
Lets Abathur get out his Brutalisk's even easier. Doesn't have to compromise his build order as much, especially if you're actually playing in a party, because you don't have to go for like the super fast spore crawler or anything. Dahaka is your spore crawler and can lure things around, and then Dahaka still gets his full essence from it. So very, very, very good early game together, which is again, as we've said a couple times, early game synergies matter a lot more than late game synergies because early game is where you tend to have issues, if anywhere,
Yeah.
especially with mutators. So beyond that, I think yeah, their armies work well together. There's not any like huge synergies in the later game, I don't think. Mend obviously helpful for Dahaka and all of his units. Less helpful the bigger Dahaka gets because Mend is a flat heal, not percentage based. So I think so you're not getting like a huge amount of health off of Mend
Health is
relative
health.
to like the 2,000 health. Yeah, but health is health, so it's solid. And the queens obviously can heal Dahaka. So I'd say a pretty darn good synergy. Probably a 7.5 to an 8. Like it's up there with Kerrigan. Or yeah, with
8?
Kerrigan.
It's pretty high. I
Well, I said seven and a
guess.
half to 8.
Yeah, I
I just
guess.
think I feel like we had a Protoss or a Terran that was at like 7, 7.5, and this definitely feels better than that.
Hmm,
But I could be misremembering our rankings.
okay. Uh, Thinking of synergies, or thinking of mutators. I guess it's pretty much. Yeah, both of them are just strong. I'm not. I'm trying to think if the fact that they work together is a result of them synergizing, or is it the fact that, or is it more of them choosing to play well alongside each other? Because not all Avatar and Dahaka would agree to help lure enemies into the toxic nests.
That's true. I'm generally thinking in terms of the
I,
ideal of like I'm
I
in a party with
guess.
my buddy. I did mention, you're not going to run into that all that often, but this is like the
Yeah.
ideal world situation of you're actually what can they do, not what are they likely to do. Most likely, Abathur is going to drop some toxic nests, and Dahak is going to walk right past them and kill the stuff himself. So, keep that in mind. Don't expect this to happen. But every now and then
Yeah.
this does happen on the ladder to me where an Abathur actually works with me. It never happens where I'm the Abathur, but sometimes I'm the Haka and the Abathur works with me and I actually work with them. So I know it can happen. Um, even with random queue, but it's not exactly likely. Without that, I mean, yeah, it'd probably be a 6 without that.
I
That's
think
a whole
it'll.
point and a half there.
I think it's gonna have to be if you were given that they can work really well together, but it has to be a conscious decision because like if both of them just try to maximize each other's strengths, or yeah, or rather if both of them just try to maximize their own strengths, Daka isn't really incentivized to help Abathur gather biomass because he's strong enough on his own. So I have to think in terms of
In my experience, I get Dehaka leveled up a lot faster with Toxic Nest help because that's a way more damage. He like just think missed opportunities, right? One Toxic Nest clears out say 3 zealots at the first bot location. a snap of a fingers, where that
Actually,
takes a good
actually,
bit to
yeah.
clear that as the Haka. And then the second area with two zealots, a stalker, and a sentry, that's instantly gone. So on and so forth. Like it is much, much, much faster to clear alongside an Abathur if they're actually working with you as Dehaka. You get leveled up way quicker.
I guess that's
Um,
true.
Now,
All right.
you don't have to do that again, but yeah, I could see if you want to do like a 7, that's fine as well. Because again, it's not particularly likely that this is going to happen, but we're talking about what could be, not what is.
Yeah. I guess it could be really good. All right, let's just go with that. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's just one commander. And like those who know, if you know, you know. If you don't know, then why are you still watching this? Or rather, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the channel. Arbiter likes getting biomass. You should lure to toxic nests, not just spam them in a straight horizontal line across the ramp. Welcome to the channel. But I guess yeah, if you know, you know, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, let's go with 8. Yeah, that's fine. It's not a big deal. Stukov, what do you think?
I mean, I guess, yeah, Dehaka covers for early game of Stukov if you do have any issues. Again, I think Stukov's weakness in the early game is slightly overblown, but it is still somewhat of an issue for him, and Dehaka helps cover for that quite well.
Yes.
So that's good. The Devour with if you have devouring one with like mass infested can be pretty good. Mega buffs to everyone. So that's solid, but again, they do timeout, so like the healing isn't a huge deal for the infested, but the other buffs are pretty good. Especially like you eat a light unit now; those infested are a lot faster. They get places a lot quicker, so that's good. But beyond that, I think it's a fine synergy. I'd say probably like a 6.5.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking of mutators again.
Stukov does shore up a lot of Dehaka's weaknesses and vice versa in
But
mutators.
like
Missile command, easy.
we did talk
Void
about
rift, not so much.
the difference between the commander just being individually strong versus actually synergizing. Because yes, Stukov does take care of missile command, but that doesn't really synergize, I don't think. That just
That's true. That's true.
does his job really well. So is it really a
Yeah,
synergy? Like,
yeah. I
well,
guess you could even say Dehaka doing well in the early game isn't a synergy so much, but it does allow you, like, it does let Stukov be more greedy, right? Like, I don't need to rush out of bunker if there's
I
a Dehaka. I can
guess.
just immediately take my expansion, immediately get my tech out, start upgrading things, and then explode into my
Yeah.
bunkers later. So it allows you to be stronger earlier as
Yeah, I guess.
Stukov. You don't have to worry
It
about the
unlocks
early
a
game.
greed or a safe greed as Stukov. I guess I can get behind that. Sure. Yeah, sure. We can go with that. So what do you have him?
Yeah, 6.5, somewhere in that range.
6.5. Yeah. Yeah, okay, not too bad. Not mentioned here, Stet Boy and Dehaka. Ooh, now that's a good
Um,
one.
yeah, I mean you have set zones, pretty
Stet
good.
zones.
Um,
Zergling's tanking for
step,
Dehaka. Ha ha ha.
yeah, yeah. Stepman obviously can handle feeding on killbots, but again, that's not like straight synergy or anything like that. Stepman's able to get out a pretty early expansion and is able to help Dehaka get his earlier as well, so that's nice. Um, One of the things I did want to mention with the earlier expansions, at least with me, my build order is tight enough that like a lot of times they open my rocks up and I'd have to like get my pack leaders out a little bit later in order to devote the minerals to an expansion. So it doesn't always actually straight up help because I'd rather get my pack leaders earlier.
Yes.
Um, so there is that to consider, and that may be something to run in with Stedman, but you'd still get it out earlier than you could otherwise.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, obviously stat zones are a synergy with everyone. Um,
Mm-hmm.
The purple zone doesn't synergize with any of the Haka's units because they're all cooldown based and not energy
Very
based.
sad.
But everything else helps quite a bit. So, and obviously provides vision for deep tunnel,
Very
calling
yeah.
on pack leaders,
Vision.
all that kind of stuff. So, I'd say pretty good. Probably like a 7.
Yeah, I can get behind that. Yeah, seven's good. All right, so there's one more page. Actually, yeah, there's one more page before we end. Check this out. Trivia. I love trivia.
Oh yeah.
Look at this. Dehaka's loading screen artwork and final evolved model used in cop missions bears resemblance to his master skin Heroes from the Storm. I didn't realize it was related to Heroes from the Storm. I didn't even know he had a character in Heroes from the Storm. I thought it was just Kerrigan and Nova
I
and Rainer from all the things
yeah,
I've seen.
I wasn't aware. I guess does that mean it came first in Heroes of the Storm and then co-op? I don't know. I assume. I guess so. That's cool.
Perhaps.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I've not played Heroes of the Storm in a long, long time. So
Well, I haven't played Heroes from the Storm ever, so.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Also, I think it's Heroes of the Storm. Okay, yeah, the game's called Heroes of the Storm. There we go. Before his intended release was announced, his inclusion as a cop commander was hinted by the Scythe of Amon mission, when the transcript would begin picking up refugees. Primal Zergings would appear instead of Protoss units. That's interesting. So with the Hakas, when the Hakas in the team, Primal Zergings would appear. That's very interesting. The Haka's cop commander store page advertises commander with the heading "Tap into the hive mind." However, the Haka this is correct. This is actually correct. Yes, the Haka does not have a Primal Zerg don't have a hive mind. So this is a good trivia. I like this one. As of March, the Haka's article is the second most visited cop commander page on the wiki. Oh my Donnie, this is 7 years ago. Oh my, I'm so old. Dude,
Yeah,
we're
it
ancient.
makes sense. Dehaka is definitely one of the like. I mean, he's like the best part basically of Heart of the Swarm. So I understand him being pretty popular.
118 is 7 years ago. We're fossils.
Yeah.
Oh my Donnie.
Yeah.
Like it talks
Yeah.
about 20 as if it's recent. Oh my Donnie. I was a
I mean, at
happy
this point, are we co-op wiki reviewers or are we archaeologists? You know. So.
archaeologist, more like paleontologists. Oh my Donnie. At launch, the Haka's primal Zerglings had a bug. Oh, I knew this one. I actually did know this one. They had a bug where they where the Zerglings were able to harvest Vespine. That was funny. I wish we had more bugs in co-op that were funny. Not just ones that broke gameplay, but ones that are legit funny. There was a bug before
Yeah.
where when you activated Super Chrono as Carax, you could lift up Rainer's buildings and have them just zip across the map really fast. Did you know that one?
I did not. That's pretty
I'll
funny.
show you. I'll show you after this one. I do have a video of that. Earliest subscribers to this channel will know what that video is. I'm gonna show Edwin home later. If you don't know, look it up. Carax Super Chrono Rainer building flag cross map, or I think it was called Units versus Buildings. Race. Units race versus buildings. Something like that. Something like that. I'll show you after this recording. Well, the Hawk cannot normally devour. This one is pretty commonly not. It's pretty common knowledge. Dehaka can devour the enemy Dehaka in Heroes from the Storm, and we'll say Death of the Week. Yeah, that's pretty neat. I like this trivia. They should have more of this. So overall,
Yeah,
Wiki,
these are good ones.
not too bad.
Yeah, I don't think there was too many glaring issues.
Yeah,
Most
just
of most issues came from they wrote this before prestiges were a thing, and
the
that
only
was
thing I'd
that
really
pretty.
do is finish this section. Let me scroll back.
Oh yeah,
Finish this,
yeah,
please. I want to hear about the Haka's units.
yeah,
Finish that, please.
yeah, for sure.
That's probably the most glaring thing that I can say. Like, this is so full. It's a novel. This was like not even a comic book. This is like a pamphlet. Anyway, all right. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. If you have an idea for what else, can you please leave that in the comment. I will see you guys next time.